the Prison City Podcast. When the bars go up, you're officially locked in.
And hello, everybody, worldwide, countrywide. Welcome to the Prison City Podcast. My name is Patrick Cutler. I'm the unofficial host, and we're going to go right to Uncle J Marsh here and go ahead and introduce yourself for today's podcast.
Well, hello everyone. Hope everyone's weeks were fine. Mahoney starting out with the Smuckers campaign. Was that what it was? Yeah, I don't know. I think we're gonna get a lawsuit off that. At least I was trying to get us free booze, not jam. I don't need Kelly to masturbate with any weirder shit. But how's everyone doing today?
All right, thank you for that, Kelly. Go ahead, take the stage. Kelly Cutler here, folks.
Yeah, I'm excited for the third podcast. I'm not excited to listen to Mahoney's intro again since this is the second time doing this. But he's an improv guy, so I'm sure he'll mix it up a little bit.
All right, Mahoney, this is the second time doing this. Do you have anything other than that lame-ass intro you had?
No, I'm just really excited to be here and really hopeful that we have a great podcast and everyone who listens really excited. I mean, I plan to bring this kind of energy all the way through.
All right, folks. So tonight's topic, and we everybody on this panel had a heads up what we're talking about. So the biggest question that we all talked about is COVID-19 a complete and absolute hoax or not? Let's go straight to J Marsh. What do you think about COVID-19? How big of a hoax is it?
Well, when I got COVID, I just lost my sense of smell for 3 days. So for me, no big deal. But I know people that are like my age who I'm in my 20s, unlike these other three. So I'm useful in the group. But like I know some guy who's like about a year younger than me who hasn't had a smell or a taste return in about 4 months. So it's one of those things like it affected everyone so vastly different. It's hard to like really get a good grasp because I don't know anyone close that personally died from it. I know a lot of people close who caught it who are very unhealthy and managed to survive it. So it's one of those weird things where I can't tell.
All right. Very cool. I love that statement. Now, moving off of Mother Teresa here, we're going to go to Mahomes for a statement.
Mother Teresa with the man bun.
You know, the thing what I hope, like when people are trying to find a podcast to listen to, I hope they're like, man, I'm trying to just get away. You know, what could I listen to? Maybe some fucking dipshits talking more about the stuff that I get shoved down my throat every fucking day. That should probably be pretty relaxing. So yeah, really thrilled that we get to be on this topic again. Just really excited.
All right, and switch it to Kelly. So Bill Gates is trying to end the population. That's what your point is?
Actually, I think we shouldn't talk about anything else except for COVID. I think you should change it to the COVID City podcast because, you know, like Mark said, people are entertained by that shit, and it's not controversial at all. I haven't lost very many friends over it. I know Pat hasn't lost a single friend over COVID. Yeah, I don't know how to kick it off. I'll just say that I'm a fundamentalist when it comes to everything. It's just common sense, you know, which isn't so common anymore. I can't say that I read as much literature as, you know, people on one side of the aisle or people on the other. I'm willing to read and listen to whatever. My biggest problem with COVID or anything like this is that people are unwilling to talk about it. They're too offended. They're too emotional to talk about it. And that just sends up red flags for COVID or any other conspiracy theory you want to talk about. So that's my biggest problem. And, you know, if it is what it is and it's not political and it's not government induced or whatever, then why should we have such a problem talking about it? You know, if it was like the bubonic plague back in, 30 BC when Jesus died or whenever the bubonic plague was around and it was a legitimate thing, then we'd probably sit around and drink beers in a pub and talk about it, you know, face to face and say, well, we're probably going to fucking die, you know, but just the fact that nobody or a lot of people won't discuss it and they'll defriend you and not talk to you and all that stuff. That's just a major red flag to me.
Yeah. Like, so anyways, getting back to you, Mother Teresa here in just a second.
Hey,
can you change your name on there?
Mother T, we're about to.
Mother T.
What I wanted to say though is what Kelly said and everything else is the the bubonic plague, I swear to God, he pulled off my Facebook page because some guy tried to compare wearing masks in the bubonic plague to COVID-19, which is not even fucking close to the same thing. But I guess my point overall, though, is not that it's a hoax. Well, I at this point I don't really care if you want me to say that or not or whatever. But my point, though, going back to you, Jay Marsh, is the lockdowns, restrictions, the insanity, the mask wearing, when science says that masks don't really fucking make any difference at all the government measures when it comes to COVID-19. What's your honest perspective on that, Jay Marsh? The platform is yours.
Let's flash back to last March. I was in New Jersey when the whole pandemic kind of started, and I was like, it sounded like a very contagious pneumonia is what it kind of came off as. So I was worried like me being able to actually fly back to Montana. There's a kid in the school I was going to was from Morocco, so we were worried about like him being able to leave the country if like it actually logged down in a pandemic. So like that's kind of where it started. But then like as it evolved, it seemed to transform instead of like being maybe a more contagious form of pneumonia, turned into very political on both sides of the aisle, where it's like you don't know which side was kind of giving you the truth. All I know is it seemed like a lot of small businesses got screwed really hard. But at the end of the day, you could still not find toilet paper at Walmart because white people are crazy, honestly. But that's what I take from it is like America is very unhealthy, and small businesses got hurt from the government in this situation because we could all go and drive 45 minutes, find the nearest Walmart, walk in, but we couldn't like shop at our local bakery, which is wild.
No, and Jay Marsh makes a fucking great point there. Small businesses really got fucked by this whole thing. Everybody knows how bad small business got completely screwed by this entire thing. Well, these big corporations like Walmart and everything else, it's almost like they just like hand delivered this to them for the most part. And that's where I kind of come from. It was just like, okay, you know what? A big corporation, they're going to survive this. Got so much fucking money in the bank, but small businesses, they're trying to do the right thing. They can't just shut down their business. They can't just shut down forever. And the stimulus checks are kind of a fucking joke for a lot of small businesses. And the PPP loans are still, honestly, they're a big joke for small businesses and everything else. But switching this conversation back to Mahoney, what do you think, your perspective on the lockdowns, restrictions, not only the U.S., but the whole country, the whole world, planet Earth as a society? What do you think about that?
I think it's kind of a two-part thing. The first part is it's a CYA society now. No one wants to get sued. So everyone, if you own a small business or if you have any sort of say in business, you are going to do that. Or if you're even a head of a state or a city, you're just going to say, mask up because someone told me at the CDC that that's good. And if you come in my place and you say you got COVID for me and you didn't, everyone's just covering their ass. That's all this is, because no one wants to get sued because people are generally kind of shitty. And then the other thing, everyone talks about, we live in the age of misinformation. And I think, I hate to say this about my parents' generation or people that are older, but Facebook has been the worst thing for them. Not only it gives them access to stuff that they don't understand isn't real. And that's how misinformation gets spread. These people who target that demographic because they grew up believing whatever I see in the news or whatever I read in the news, that's gospel. Like they grew up that way. So if someone sends them something that looks like it's from a newsy place, they'll believe it. They'll post it and they'll fuck you to death. Basically, like, I'm right, you're wrong because Jeff over at the Onion told me something. Like they don't know, but that's the biggest problem. Is everyone's just so like it's a yes or no, it's a black or white. It's not, man. Life is great. We live in the middle. So yeah, a lot of people got like, obviously, people are getting sick for sure. And it was definitely like, I remember at the beginning, I was kind of like making fun of it. Like, all right, it sounded like it was only going to affect older people. I wasn't really all that worried about it. We had some people initially at the place I work were starting to lose money because of it. So when the first person lost money, I bought him a big can of Corona because this is back when it was the coronavirus and not COVID, right? Because I just treated it like a joke, like whatever, this will be 2 weeks. And apparently, no, it wasn't just 2 weeks. And every person just decided, like, I need to go to Costco and buy as much toilet paper as possible. Like my biggest takeaway from this, outside of like misinformation is how much do people shit in a 2-week time frame? Like, if they only thought it was going to be 2 weeks, why do you need 120 rolls of toilet paper? That's kind of where I come from.
Okay, so I'm just going to touch on a few points by Mahoney there. Very good points. Number one, talking about technology, Facebook. Every great technological advancement, it's still a fucking two-sided coin. Where heads, it's like, man, this is great. Flip it to tails, and there's a very big downfall to the ramifications of it. It doesn't mean it's all good, doesn't mean it's all bad, but that's a very good point to bring up. You watch the movie Social Dilemma on Netflix. I recommend everyone watch that Social Dilemma on Netflix. Very, very good film. The other part I want to say is when it comes to what you're saying about believing what you see and everything else, there are statistics that show, not just in the U.S., but the entire human population, where 20%, get this, 20% of people in this world, 20% of people in this world will believe what is suggested to them by anything, 20%. So at least 20% of the population will look at their TV and believe 100% what it says, no matter what. So that's a little bit disturbing. And just going into Mahone's points there, very good, valid points there. A lot of backing up there, and it's very interesting because there are so many people that just will believe anything. And this is kind of my point about COVID-19 hysteria and hype and everything else. You know, we were taught as kids, everybody here on this chat, we were all taught as fucking kids, scientific inquiry. What does that involve? It involves you testing your fucking thesis. And what does that involve? It involves looking at opposite point of views, looking at opposing data that goes against what you believe. And nobody wants to fucking do that right now. They just want to believe whatever the TV set says, and they don't want to ever look at the opposing view. And that's why when you talk about mainstream media, Google, everything else, it just pushes that mantra into you so fucking bad that I'm about done with this rant. So Kelly, go ahead.
Great setup. Great setup. You got this, Kelly.
Yeah, well,
on the tee, ready for you.
I think you three covered it all, so I think the podcast is over. Very, very simple, uncomplicated subject. I think that's all we need to put into it is 7 minutes.
Okay, great. And again, you know, we just ripped on Facebook. Check us out on Facebook, guys.
I love that. I love that shit, you know, on Facebook when people say, fuck Facebook, you know, fake book and all this shit, and they're on Facebook doing it. I just get a good kick out of that.
Yeah.
Double-sided coin, man. Double-sided coin.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Again, even though I just changed my name to COVID expert number 3, I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert on COVID at all. I truly don't think I think it's like anything else in life. The flu, the sniffles, you know, the AIDS, whatever, cancer, car wrecks. We're all going to die of something. It's like, if we're going to live in a bubble for a year over COVID, then we might as well live in a bubble the rest of our lives, if you can even call that a life. Because there's always going to be something out there to kill you. And people, again, I don't like the emotional game when it comes to our lives and our freedom and all that stuff. Of course, the people who are so susceptible, like our grandparents or somebody that's in the nursing home, you want to protect them from COVID, and you want to protect them from everything else too. Even if we're not in a pandemic, which I have a lot of questions if this was even a pandemic. I mean, I wish this would be a good episode for young Moose Tilley to be here, because you know, there's going to be a lot of things that need to be Googled and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about. So I think you really need to narrow it down to some sub points and stuff. But I just want to touch really quick on what Mahoney was saying about the news and stuff. I think the world is shaken up right now because of that, because there's so much access and information. You can get your hands on anything you want. That's why there's so much fight, because it's not just the older generation. There's a lot of the younger generation too that still only watch and listen to one side of the coin, so to speak. And that's just clashing with other people that are going, wait, this doesn't make any fucking sense. They're clearly saying one thing on CNN or Fox News, which just is a complete falsehood. And once you catch them in one lie or two lies, let alone thousands of lies, it becomes a major, major issue, and you feel like you've been lied to your entire life. So I'm just trying to seek what the fuck is the truth, and that's very hard to find.
Yeah, so great piece there, Kelly. A couple things he touched on. Emotion is a very big fucking deal here. Mahoney knows this. Mahones knows this. Mahogany. When you're doing, sorry, not him, but anybody that does sales, you sell on fucking emotion. You don't sell on logic. You make the most logical argument in life. They're like, fuck you. You make a big emotional argument, like, oh my God, he is Jesus Christ himself. But the point is, like, you sell on emotion. You sell on freaking emotion and everything else. And what Kelly's saying here is about the emotion of it and the media and pushing it constantly every single day. It's like you're delving into people's emotions. By delving into people's emotions, you're controlling them. You're getting them to do exactly what you want them to do. Am I right? What else? What you're saying about that, Kelly? Go ahead.
Just going back to Mahoney, who got offended and left. Now he's back. Talking about a Sue happy society, which Mahogany says that a lot, and that's super fucking true. But for me, it's bigger than that. Life is bigger than that. We are here, as far as we know, only for today, only for a matter of years, whatever. So it's, how do you want to live? Of course, it's a Sue happy society, but I would rather live and be safe and be smart about shit, obviously. But if I could be dead tomorrow, then why are we going so crazy over not just COVID, but everything that people go crazy over, which is literally everything.
Yeah. So again, with your point though, is like when you have something that has a 99.998% survival rate, the logic says, why would I fucking sacrifice that entire year of my fucking life to do that? If you're like me and like Jay Marsh knows how I've been living this last year, and Kelly knows, I've basically been living like every day doesn't fucking matter, to tell you the truth, because that's how everybody should live their life. And with that said, Jay Marsh, what are your thoughts and everything that's been discussed so far?
Well, there's some definitely good points, but even I feel like we discussed earlier, we know people who will wear their mask at their business, at a local bank, but the moment you see them out in public, yeah, that's off. Like in a bar, in a casino, like even at the grocery store for some people, but they're going to like almost play like a Facebook, a different life than they truly live. And it's just wild to see the people who believe solely like the mask. I understand the data about it does kind of prevent some spreading. It is a barrier between you and I, or him and other person. Like that does make some logical sense and a little bit of science sense. But like when someone like they dive into it and they full-heartedly believe that, but then when you see them out in the street and they're not wearing one, they're like hugging people, grabbing the old guy who's in his 60s at the bar. You wonder, like, do you really believe that, or are you just trying to play it on social media,
Yeah, so going back to Mahoney with misinformation here. So a lot of misinformation is shared on Facebook, and guess Facebook doesn't even fucking fact check it. People can sit there and say there's 100% death rate for COVID, and Facebook won't fact check that or anything because it goes with the fucking narrative, which is so annoying for a lot of us. And it's like when you talk about misinformation, the misinformation now being spread, and this is the biggest problem with society. The misinformation now that is being spread is socially acceptable misinformation, and that is the biggest problem. It's not being fact checked. They're spreading it constantly. And what do you think about that, Mahogany?
I think it's
he's just going to say all three of your names every time you're
I appreciate that. And as you can see, our COVID expert number 3, can you share with the crowd what your name was before you changed that really quick?
I don't think that's fucking appropriate for the goddamn podcast. That's why I changed it.
No, I think it's honestly the social media is the greatest scourge on society, because it's everyone before social media. Everyone had their true life that they showed their family and their closest friends, and then they had their like what I'm going to project when I'm at work, or when I'm out, when I'm at the bank, when I'm at like wherever, or especially now social media. But social media is just jacked that up, right? Like I'm going to post this at a certain time of night So I know I can get the most likes. If I post after 7, people are going to be sitting on the John taking their post dinner shit, and I know I can get my likes. Like people want to be injected to their veins, and so that's one. And then I think another, just in terms of media, what made another social media, we can rag on Facebook all day, which I'm fine with, is Twitter. I've never been on Twitter, but that has probably been the biggest detriment to news, because everyone wanted to be first. Fuck the facts. I'm going to get it to you first, right? Like, I don't care if I'm right or wrong, or kind of like, I'm just going to throw this against the dartboard to say I said it first and I can get credit on some major news network. So I think it's fucking terrible, man. Everyone I'm fine with everyone having an opinion. That's great. That's what this world is. And everyone should be a little bit different, but not everyone's opinion truly on a social media is what they actually mean, right? They want it to fit within this fake ass lifestyle that they're portraying about who they are, when people that really know them know that's not who they fucking are at all. So I think social media is terrible.
Most of the time back in the day, when you'd have an opinion, not everybody knew it because you didn't have social media. So you'd run into Joe Blow that you graduated with 20 years ago in the grocery store, and you didn't just go, masks aren't real, COVID isn't real, it's a hoax. You don't just jump right into that, you know. It's more just, hey, how you doing? Oh, you're buying bananas? I like bananas too. And that's about it. But you're right, to have that access to everybody's opinion, it's just like up in your face when you don't even really know most of the people very well that you're seeing on Facebook. You might have, like I said, graduated with them.
Yeah. So sorry, go ahead, Mahoney.
And then everyone's comfortable behind the keyboard, right? They'll say shit on social media that they would never say to you in person. And then if you offend, like if you say something back to them that they don't like, kind of in the same vein of they hit you, then they'll go and they'll get all their other, like, you know, their social justice warriors and come at you. It's the fucking worst thing going. Like, let's have a face-to-face interaction. And if you really, and let's talk about it that way. Social media fucking sucks. Yeah. Anyway, check us out on Twitter.
Check us out. I agree with a lot of things that Mahoney's saying. Mahogany's saying. Again, I will go back to what I said in the entire. It's a double-sided coin, man. There's one-sided coin where someone like me, I'm a big-time introvert, and I'm like, fuck, this is awesome. I can say whatever I want. People will not believe this when I'm telling this. I was on I was on Mahogany before anybody else was on there. I was on Facebook before anybody was on there before, and I would say whatever the fuck I felt like. That's where it fucking started. But what Mahogany is referring to here is that it's he's so right. It's fucking virtue signaling. That's what it is. I had this guy in Alaska, I'm not gonna say his name because I'll get sued, fucking making Big Ben Roethlisberger fucking rape jokes to me. And now I do a fucking meme on Ted Bundy and he's fucking offended by it. Are you out of your fucking mind? Jesus, motherfucking Christ. Oh, sorry. But that's my point.
Lord have mercy.
Let's switch it to J March. Are you dead or are you alive right now?
I want you to notice really quick, after Mahoney's last speech, I realized I know more about COVID than him, so I changed my name to COVID expert number 2 now.
Thanks. I prefer to be like the least knowledgeable person in the room on that fucking. I'm so sick of that shit.
All right, Jay Marsh, you have something to say?
Do I have something to say?
Like,
what was the question again? Because
what do you think?
Virtue signaling.
Like, in today's world, it's crazy, especially with social media. Like, people don't understand the point of dialogue. I see you, you see me. We read off each other's body language. It's more in-depth conversation. Like, we know what there's an innuendo. One of us might say that another person understands. We're like, even writing an email, you have to redo it 18 times before you're like, okay, does this actually convey the message I want? Then, like, we know a whole bunch of people who spend a lot of time on Facebook, posting a lot of things on Facebook, and they wonder why they get into like 37 comment section arguments. And it's like, yeah, like, you can't distinguish intent via letters, but from like a body language, you could distinguish an intent. And that's what's lost at a lot of virtual signaling in like the modern social media network.
Yeah. And I want to take a brief break here, guys, from this conversation. And Kelly, We should
Back
do
to
this
the Las
every-
Vegas Knights, boys. No,
Yes.
back to Vegas Knights.
We should debrief at least partway through every episode and do Cutler Brothers Productions' biggest insults for that week. So-
Where do we begin?
All right, here we go, guys. So, I was told, founding member of Cutler Brothers Productions, I was told that because of a Facebook post I made 5 fucking years ago, teachers have unionized themselves and boycotted not Cutler Brothers Productions, not Cutler Brothers Productions, just any Cutler Brothers Productions theater play that I was in. Can you imagine that? Over a fucking Facebook post.
Dude, all
Um,
the teachers I grew up with are all alcoholics. Like they spend their time at the bar. Like it's a serious issue.
I think we just as a panel, and then our listeners need to know what the post was.
Oh, it was, the post was basically my kids God, I mean, you're talking about like this is hard. I'm going back on the Facebook post. Okay,
I want to know
backstory.
why they're gonna
Backstory.
fucking not come to your shows now.
It was something to do with Sandy Hook, I'm sure.
Oh shit! Do we got Alex Jones up in the corner right now?
Pretty
Hey.
much.
I'm out of your next play, bud.
Hey, Mahoney, on a mahogany on this conversation. How much do you miss my Sandy Hook and Chris Kyle sniper conspiracy days?
Not at all. Not at all.
So this post, she's it was outside of our play on whatever, and she's bringing it up to us, and I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But again, your memory keeps kicking in. Kids, oh, okay. There are some points 5-6 years ago, whatever. My kids were going to school in Alaska, and I worked in the school district. I knew all the teachers, and the teachers are all very, very good, and they're high quality. And it had to do with me saying that, well, a lot of my teachers growing up in Dura. Duroch, most people don't know, Duroch is a fucking rough place. It's not a place you come to make peace or whatever. A lot of my teachers growing up were complete shit, in my opinion. And I did not say in that word. I said
He
a
just
lot,
lost 45
This is
years,
word.
I swear.
This is word for word.
Yeah.
I said a lot of my teachers
Letter
growing
by
up,
letter.
I thought a lot of my teachers were terrible teachers or whatever. It's something that, and she came back and said they all were terrible. It's like, that's not what I fucking said. Anyways, though, that the post was along those general lines where I said, it's great to see these teachers for my kids now, because the teachers I grew up were really not very good. And that's pretty much a fact. Take
Nice.
it, Mahoney.
That's cool. So I guess I don't even see why they'd be upset, because you just insulted their entire life's work. Like, what would they be upset about?
And
man?
no, the best take on it is like, oh my gosh, he said I'm a terrible teacher. This is funny because subconsciously, you guys follow Tony Robbins NLP. Anybody know what NLP is? NLP? Anybody?
I know who Tony Robbins is. I don't know anything about OPP,
Okay.
other people's pussy.
Neuro linguistic programming. You say stuff that you suggest something, and then they think about it or whatever. So say Matt Mahoney, mahogany. Imagine having
Montgomery at this point, might as well. What other things sound of that? Gee.
Montgomery.
Mr. Magoo.
Imagine having a
Like-
perfect day with your wife. Imagine what that would look like. So when I say that to you, guess what? Your subconscious, your brain fills in the clues, right?
Divorce. I'm sorry.
Yes. So when I say I had completely shitty teachers, if you're a shitty teacher, guess what? Your memory involves throwing those blanks in.
All right. So if they're shitty teachers, they imagine the perfect day with my wife. Am I following along?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, the next. Hey guys. Okay,
Well,
the
he
next
was-
episode.
Pat he was mainly talking about our parents when he said shitty teachers. And all of the Cutler family. Just joking.
That's Pat. You should just issue the classic corporate statement. Like that statement was me a long time ago. That's not me today. I've learned. I've grown. I have to do better, and I will do better. And then they'll fucking come to the shows. That's all they want is you to jerk off on them with some corporate bullshit.
Dude, just apologize individually to each teacher. I'm sorry, Mrs. So-and-so.
Hey,
I'm sorry,
no.
Mrs. So-and-so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I asked her who the names were. She couldn't give them to us. Like, okay. Hey, they're not shitty teachers, Mahogany. Guess what? They're not shitty at all. They're just so shitty they would boycott their students' fucking play because of a Facebook post.
see what-
Well, you know, the initial thing you said was about Cutler Brothers Productions, and I feel like it's every. I mean, that just says something about Cutler Brothers Productions, because Saturday Night Live, every outlet, entertainment outlet, has people in it that other folks won't watch. You know, George Carlin's a great example. So it's like, okay, well, you don't want to watch shows, even though I agree, I don't think that's really true. I don't think that's happening. At least it's not happening enough for us to notice an effect on the entertainment, you know, the theater or the films or anything. But yeah, I mean, every single entertainment outlet has people on it that some people don't like, will boycott, whatever. But
Yeah.
I don't believe in apologizing. I really don't believe in apologizing unless you truly, like, you know, you did something, you know, mean spirited from the bottom of your heart. But if you just said something that you truly believed, you know, then it's like, well, you can take that as I was talking about you, or you can just say, well, I'm not a shitty teacher. Obviously, he's not talking about me. That's what I do. I just go, they're not referring to me.
But again, though, going back to Mahogany's point, going back though, the point was social media impacting people's lives and things of that nature. What she said, I don't know if there's any truth at all to that. She was just the former judge of Powell County here in Deer Lodge, and she's drunker than shit.
If it's who I think it is, she was really rude to me at the bar. Like, she bumped into me and I apologized, but she was like, "You better," and it was really awkward.
Yeah, she was a fucking cunt.
Did you
I
get-
didn't say that. He said that. That guy right there, Pittsburgh hat.
Did you get offended, Jay Marsh? Do we got to talk about this?
Yes, a little bit. I felt almost like hurt deep down in my like feelers. You know, I don't know what to do with this. I think I need therapy in a way, but
You
I
know
don't know if I
what?
could sue for that.
You're in a safe space, and if any of this is triggering you, we can take a step back and just think about it. Okay?
And you didn't
Oh,
finish
dude.
what she actually said. She bumped into you, and then you said sorry, and she said, "Nice man bun, fuckface."
Oh god.
Willikers.
But yeah, go back to what Mahogany was Montgomery was saying.
That's just gonna be the theme all night long.
Montgomery, Mahomey.
Just call me
Mahomes.
Monty the Bear from now on.
Today we're working with M words.
We're going to start with the MAs and move on to the MOs.
Oh, good
Put My Little
times.
Pony in the corner, and
Social media posts offending people.
Did Pat die?
No, he's cool. He's cool.
he's here.
He's cool.
God. COVID. All right.
Pat, do you just wake up at night in cold sweats? Fucking COVID.
All right, go ahead, Mahoney.
That's all I got. That was it. I went. I did my shit. I'm all done.
You're the unofficial host, Patrick.
Well, if you want to keep talking about people offended by Cutler Brothers Productions, you know, throughout the years we've stopped caring about that, because we have a whole slew of everything we do. You could come to a G-rated musical, or you can go to a comedy night, an improv, a roast. They're all so freaking different with different ratings on them. And I've tried to get that into people's heads. You know, they got offended by something we said in 2005, and they haven't come to the show since. And like, I remember we did Annie, and somebody said, "Oh, I'm not going to that because the Cutler Brothers Productions is producing it." I was like, "Really? With 20 kids, you think we're gonna make Annie R-rated somehow?" You know, fuck you, Daddy Warbucks. What do you think we're gonna put in there?
And for the fans listening at home, they did have a pretty graphic molestation scene in that was not in the first hand. My mom.
but they were. It's not what you think. They were molesting the 80-year-old Drake the butler.
Hey,
those are all
your
jokes.
fantasies are your fantasies, my guy.
Well,
I know going back to when we were doing some of the early shows and early comedy nights, and there was some show like stuff that we didn't even write that people would get up and leave in the middle of the show. And that was always kind of like kind of a feather in our cap. I felt like good.
Mhm. Yeah.
We got your money.
fuck you.
No.
I mean, the point I don't think has ever been like to offend someone. If someone gets offended, I feel like that's their own problem. It's like, okay, well, sorry, but we're just going to keep rolling ahead. But then there's some people, like some guy came in to Robin Hood just the other weekend, and I was like, oh, you're our fans from Dylan. I recognize them. They come to all kinds of shows. And he just, I said, wasn't there a show in the past that you just told me you completely hated? He's like, yes, The Odd Couple. It was so dry. It was so terrible. But you know what? He's back. He's going to shows. So if they're really going to hold a grudge and not go, then that's not our problem, because other people will. There's 7 billion people on the planet.
All right, let's get back to COVID-19 insanity. I think I'm done laughing for the last 10 minutes. Sorry, I don't know why. I just couldn't stop laughing.
Sometimes it catches you, man.
So the other night, this past like 5 days, we did the Montana Comedy Fest in Deer Lodge, and there's a girl, very, very nice girl, very, very nice girl, a very fine girl, Jay Marsh.
Whoa. Why are you looking at me? She's like 10 years older than me. At that point, it's like weird.
Well, you're the one talking all this body language stuff. Like, maybe you need to tone it down.
I'm just over like, let's go, boys. My beard looks better up close.
So she's lecturing me on the bar. It's just like, I saw your Facebook post on Facebook, and I disagree. Masks are very effective. So this is the last night she's been out on the town. I've seen her at bars for like 3 or 4 days in a row, where she's fucking not wearing any mask at all around tons and tons of fucking people. Yet she's lecturing me on wearing a mask. Someone explain this shit to me.
I feel like you need to update your spitting game to try to pick up chicks. But that's just my 2 cents.
Well, people don't practice what they preach. It's that simple, I don't know. That just blows my mind, and it wouldn't be that bad if it's like, okay, it's our business, we have to do this for X, Y, and Z. But when you're, personally attacking someone or lecturing someone, and then you go and do that. And I had people, that did the exact same thing, not wearing a mask, and we're in the corner bar just crowded as shit. And it's like, well, I've had my vaccine shot. I might have my second vaccine shot. I was like, well, you don't even.
Your 27th vaccine shot.
It's it's only been out for a couple of months. Yeah, it's only been out for a couple of months. It's like there's been no time put on this. You don't really know if that's effective or not. It seems to me if you were truly afraid of this thing, you would continue to socially distance and practice what you preach. I don't know. Blows my mind too.
So I'll just interject here. Here's a fact: the people that made the vaccine, great people. They all party at the Montana bar. No, great people. The people that made the vaccine. They don't even know 100% what the results are of the vaccine or someone taking the vaccine. So, although it's very safe for most people, very safe. It's mahogany, J Marsh. It's almost like the vaccine has a 99.998% survival rate. It's like fucking magic. How did they do it?
I had a feeling you were going to go with that route and bust out that number again.
Is it weird I couldn't tell the difference between vaccine and Vaseline with him? Or
it's the same fucking thing as far as you're concerned.
The COVID Vaseline you actually rub on your testicles, and it's supposed to work in 3 to 4 business days.
So now, if I put it on a Friday, does the weekend not count?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it's a very the vaccine's as smart as the virus was. The virus, only went into bars, never went into Walmart. The vaccine, Vaseline, sorry, it's extremely smart.
To kind of go back on whoever you're talking about that is like wearing a mask and then they go out. It's everyone wants to fucking fit in. That's all that is. That's just someone who they just want to fit in, right?
Yes.
And everyone cares so much about what other people think about them. And I'm fucking just as guilty as everybody else. Like, I want to be like, you know what? Fuck, I don't care what everybody thinks. But guess what? I fucking care like a shit ton what other people think. I wish I didn't, but I do. So that's why whoever that person is, that's exactly why they're doing it. They want to be like, if I'm like, I have a business or I'm a part of a business or whatever, I'm going to be this way. But when I'm going to this place where these people think like this, I don't want to be the fucking only one in a mask or like be looked at differently. That's
yes. Exactly. That's the point I want to make here. That is the fucking exact point that Mahoney just nailed here. It's all about social norms. What is socially acceptable? Because if anybody she did an eyeglass place, not going to expose her totally. But
you're already there.
Okay, maybe I'm already there. Anyways, though,
5 of our 32 viewers see this.
But if you're doing anything medical, whether it be eyeglasses, whether it be a spa or whatever, the social norms are that you wear a mask and that prevents something. But you go out in Dirt Lodge, unlike Butte, Montana, or Missoula, does not give a flying fuck about this bullshit, and there's no mask. So guess what? Your privilege, white privilege, your mask privilege goes away because it's not socially acceptable to wear a mask. So you're not fucking wearing a mask.
Yeah.
So again, it goes back. Sorry, one last point. It goes back to my fucking human logic that I talked at the very fucking beginning of the show. It's not about logic. It's about emotion, social acceptance. That's what it's fucking about. It has nothing to do with logic or rationale whatsoever. Take it away, Kelly.
Yeah, I think it's become that. I was saying, when is this all over? When is it okay to take off your mask after the first, second, 95th vaccine shot? When is it acceptable? When Joe Biden says so? When Donald Trump says so? So you hit it on the nose. It's right now. I agree with Mahoney. It's really difficult to go into a place and have, not anymore, we're at a really awesome location, but you go into like a Walmart and 90% of people are wearing masks and stuff. But I tell you what, though, if I walk in and I see one person not wearing a mask, because I think the majority is like, this is fucking stupid, but when do we quit? I can't quit until everyone else quits, the herd mentality, the group mentality. But if I see one or two other people not wearing them, then I just feel like a fucking douchebag. Like I don't have enough courage, because I don't believe in masks and everything. I told you what I believe in with protecting the most susceptible in society. But it's really, you got to have a group think, a group mentality, and people just need to start living the way they want to live, or else you're going to always live the way that someone else, whatever you want to call it, tells you to live.
Yeah. So I'm gonna kick out the J Marsh here in a little bit, but just going on that group mentality, the herd immunity. And this is a fun fact that everybody should fully embrace. Guess what, guys? When people came out a year ago, I don't know, 8 months ago, whatever, they said we all kind of let it spread or just let it take its turn, and then we'll develop herd immunity, right? And the fucking CDC and mainstream media, everybody else said, herd immunity doesn't exist. You can't get herd immunity. Everybody's going to die. And yet they come back now and they say, oh, well, if everybody gets the vaccine, we suddenly have herd immunity. Jay Marsh, you're up the deck. Swing away.
Well, like the two biggest examples in this country is Florida and California. California stayed closed and has the exact same numbers as Florida, which pretty much stayed open through the entire thing. But I want to backpack on one of the points Kelly made, because wasn't there like a psychological study where it's like, if you have 5 people in the room and the first person says this is a blue, even though it's clearly red and the second person says this is blue, no matter what, the third person will also agree with like your group mentality, because you question yourself and you don't want to make them feel bad for being wrong, so you just go along with it because it's no harm, no foul. And I feel like that's the case of a lot of this is kind of something similar to that. But back to your question, Pat, it's like Texas is pretty much open. They're supposed to start holding like open sports events next month. But like the numbers, like COVID wise, California and Florida, exact same, and two completely different styles of how they handled this pandemic.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. J Marsh and going to Montgomery there in the middle. Go ahead. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's really interesting to watch how other people do things. I mean, for me, I know a shit ton of people who are smarter than me, right? So if someone's gone to school to be a doctor, I'm going to go.
Wrong.
I'm going to go ahead and say, guess what?
We got Donald Trump here with us now.
Not like if I go to the doctor and get diagnosed with cancer, I'm going to be like, that's a fucking hoax, you moron. I'm not going to do that. So I definitely don't think this is a hoax by any means. Like, people are dying, people are getting sick. I do question the way we handled it. I think it would be silly not to. And I think that's why so many people, like Pat, for example, is just kind of like, Pat's always been the person, like, you know, when someone tries to tell him what to do, he's just been, get the fuck off of me, you know, like, and so I'm not surprised. Like, we've all been cooped up for a year now. I mean, I went back, my wife at the time was finishing up some school in Great Falls, and I went there for 2 weeks, what I thought was fucking 2 months, you know, and then here we are still working from home. So people are sick of it, man. Like, I want to go back to work. I want to get back to my fucking normal shit. I'm sick of working from my kitchen table. So I'm not surprised that the longer you keep people cooped up, like, I think the silent minority will start to get loud enough where people are like, yeah, this kind of fucking sucks. Like, you know,
I'll go. Sorry, I'll go with
my biggest problem, I think, was
fuck you.
There was this warning. I remember in the summer there was this warning of this like second wave. I was like, okay, we're gonna keep things kind of closed down until the second wave, and then the second wave hit. But like, at least where I was at, everyone was doing the same shit. Just more people were getting sick. So I don't know. Like, that was the one. That's when it was kind of like, man, what the fuck are we doing here? But I don't know. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to sit here and judge.
Can I make one comment on that, Pat?
No.
Okay, thanks. I just wanted to go. I wanted to go on the record that I don't think coronavirus is a hoax. I know coronavirus is not a hoax. I'm just saying what J Marsh said originally, that it's been so politicized. And anybody that doesn't think it's politicized, it's living under a rock. After day one, I was like, this feels oddly political. But after a year or whatever of this shit, if you don't think it's political or it's been spun politically, then you're fucking insane. But I don't think coronavirus is a hoax. I know that there's a disease. There's actual several. I turned into a 5-year-old. There's actual several coronavirus.
Vaselines.
I can't talk. There's several coronavirus strands out there. They're not going away. If it's going to continue to work with masks and social distancing and just controlling the public, they're just going to come out with another one and then another one and then another one. That's just what I see going down the pike. But yeah, coronavirus exists just like, again, any other way that you can die. We've had people die in our lives. I don't, pull the emotional card anytime someone makes a joke about death. If I know somebody that died that way, I mean, maybe I'm just different that way, but I laugh it off, and that's how I handle it.
You know what I want to say, Kelly, thank you very much for chiming in there. The last drop of betrayal has finally hit against Patrick Cutler. I don't think coronavirus is hoax. Thank you very much, guys. The show's over. Fuck off. I'm gonna go back to Mahoney of Jurassic Park there. He's right. I rally against everything. I don't want to be told what I want to fucking do and everything else. But as Kelly knows and as J Marsh knows, guess what? I was in a village in the middle of nowhere, Alaska. No one knows this, but most people don't know this. I was in a village in the middle of nowhere, Alaska. At the last second, I got this calling to say, I have spring break. I was gonna stay up there and just work my ass out there in spring break. And I just had this voice in my head, it's like, you need to go down to Montana and see your kids. So I went down, and my kids were living in Montana the entire year. I went down and saw them, and COVID hit, and that banned all flights back to Alaska, basically, and I couldn't go back to Alaska. But with all that said, though, I mean, COVID-19 for me personally, the way I was going through a divorce, my kids were, I was in the village in the middle of nowhere. Everything in COVID-19 actually worked in my favor. Honestly, we did a full-length feature film, we did plays, all the stuff. But at the end of the day, Mahogany's right. I can't fucking stand being told what to do or what not to do. Right? Mahogany, take it over.
I mean, yeah, that's basically what marriage is too, right? Like, hey,
yeah, go through a divorce and preach me, you motherfucker.
Wrong.
Hey, your wife laughed.
Yeah, I no comment.
That's because she fucking couldn't tell him what to do. Like, that's the biggest issue. Can't control him.
We just see Pat fly into Jay Marsh's room and tackle him off his chair.
Jesus Christ! Why did I have if I would have had Mahogany as a fucking divorce counselor? Oh my God, things would be different.
Wait, is it weird I sent that to Kelly, but it's definitely hit Pat hardest?
No, I love Joe Biden though. Everything's free. My loans are forgiven. Everything's free. We're all free. Let's all.
Hey, we got free money yesterday, or most of us did. I didn't, but some people I know did.
And that's I guess when we talk about shit getting politicized, we can have this whole like politics talk on another, but I think fucking national politics is such a fucking waste of time. It's fucking fantasy football. You pick a guy that you hope does good, and then you have no fucking control over what happens. Mm-hmm. It's fantasy football. It's such a fucking waste of time.
I have a weird, I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory or whatever, but I feel like politics is literally just like a giant TV show. That's what it is. That's like not a analogy or whatever. It's a giant TV show that says, let's suck all these people in, advertisers, everything like that. It's $1 trillion business because people follow it exactly like they follow, a Lost or something like that.
Hey, Kelly, seriously, fuck Joe Biden. The guy's fucking lying to my bank account right now.
I think Joe Biden's been one of the best presidents we've ever had, man. He's put money in our pockets. He stays the fuck out of our businesses.
Yeah. Hey, I don't have to worry about what he's going to write on Twitter. This guy
can work from home.
Hey, guys, name one other president who says fucking nothing but gives you a fucking $1,400 check 2 months in.
Yeah.
Can't think of one.
If you think back, Trump only gave us $600. That's why I didn't vote for him.
Wait, you only got 600? I got 1,800.
Fuck you.
Well, that's because you have 3 kids, Jay Marsh.
Oh shit.
I don't know if you actually want to go off on Joe Biden, but I really do think Joe Biden is a fucking alien. I truly think he came from another. I do. Now we're getting really conspiratorial. I think he's from another planet, man. Watch him on TV and shit. It's like, this guy is not fucking a human being.
Kelly, you're onto he's a shapeshifter and he's trying to pay you $1,400 to shut the fuck up about it.
He's trying to pay everyone $1,400 to shut the fuck up.
Just forget all this weird stuff, all right?
I'll make a point though that Kelly's alluding to subtly there.
Subtly.
Very subtly.
Underneath, just call him an alien. Nothing subtle about that.
Okay. No, maybe not subtly. Okay, so mention me is so fucking terrible, so full of fucking shit. Everybody knows sorry, I backtrack. Nobody fucking knows because most people are fucking morons. The COVID vaccine was fact checked by CNN, and they said in October it would take 6 to like 12 months to get a COVID vaccine, or I think it was actually like 6 to 18 months. And they said Trump saying the COVID vaccine be out shortly was complete bullshit. So there's one example of the mainstream media just lying their fucking asses off. So what happens though is when mainstream media is so full of bullshit, people like your mom or my mom or anybody else will go down these gigantic rabbit fucking holes where it's like, now I come home and my mom's like, oh yeah, Pat, did you hear about the Bill Gates depopulation, what he's doing?
Well, that one's more probable than Biden being an alien, but
Yeah.
It's yeah, the shit people go down, because like all you got to do is, if you even have like a decent web design and have a couple like pictures that make it look, you can make a story about anything you want. If you make it look nice and kind of write it like it's a story, people will fucking buy it for sure.
Hey, guess what? Mahogany, that whole theory holds up great until you turn on your TV set and a fucking Viking took over the Capitol.
You know, that's a day that we'll all never forget. I've forgotten the date already, but like it's a date we'll never forget.
January 6th.
Oh shit! I knew that. January 6th. Holy fuck! Good for me.
And Moose Tilly isn't even here to look that up.
I know. Young Jim is not here to fact check Pat.
Oh,
for
fuck
me.
him.
It's a sad day.
Yeah, like in 300 years, they'll be reading history books about what happened on January 6th. We can't remember it, and it was a month ago.
I gotta take a little break, guys. I'll be back in a little bit.
I've just purposely, like, I don't watch national news. I'll watch the local stuff to see what the weather is, or to see, like, you know, hopefully no one got killed in the neighborhood, or if there was any news to know. I haven't watched national news in forever. I think the last time I watched a national news, like on purpose, was remember when we were little kids in like our 4th grade pod, we'd have to watch CNN like every couple days. I just don't watch that shit.
Oh,
Hey, I'm back, guys. I'm back.
Wow.
Poor little
No, I agree. Like,
he needs a little wine.
like I haven't watched
Oh, Nate,
cable
thank you.
news in
I'll see you guys
years.
back on the podcast.
Like,
Thanks for the jam.
Shut that
Yeah.
door.
stay out too. No, but like even
Thanks
for
for
me, I
the
haven't-
jam. Sorry. I got a little delay here in Montana.
but like I haven't watched cable news in a very long time because like you find more reasonable sources just on the internet. I don't mean that in like an Alex Jones sense, but there's a handful of journalists that just independently go out and kind of fact check your major, like your Foxes, your CNNs, your MSNBCs, because they all have their own spin on what is actually happening. You know?
So yeah, I just saw a Snopes fact check, and it was fucking it was about that Marvin Heckley or whatever his name was. He died. The boxer that died recently.
Marvelous Marvin Hagler.
Yes,
Jesus,
yes.
Pat, we watch fights together. I've just lost respect for you.
I'm not a boxer fan. Thank you. Anyways, the fact check.
For the rest of the podcast, since it starts with an M, can you call Mahoney Marvelous Marvin Heckler?
The fact check was fucking hilarious. You know what the fact check was? His wife said he died of natural causes. Period. That was a fact check. So that's the fact check. Someone's viewpoint on something is now a fucking fact check.
Yeah.
That's how ridiculously fucking stupid shit is.
I just want to put it. Go ahead.
Sorry, the last point I want to make is when it came to him, according to fact checks, I researched every news report out there, because they were saying, oh, it's a conspiracy. He had the COVID-19 shot and he died. You know, I researched everything. Not a fucking source said whether he had the COVID vaccine or not. Is that fucking insanity or what?
Well, I like, I don't know if it's a meme or whatever. I get all my news from Facebook memes, just like our mom does. But but they talk about conspiracy theorists. They used to be just the drain on society, the sewer of society, but now conspiracy theorists are the ones living their normal life, walking to the grocery store without a mask on and stuff, and then the people calling them conspiracy theorists are in their house wearing one of those World War II gas masks and surrounded in bubble wrap and shit. It's such a fucking upside down society. But I mean, which way. And I hate, again, politics. They drive me nuts too, just like Mahoney said. But no matter what you do, it's going to be political. You're either on one side of the aisle or the other, or somewhere in the middle. And and the mainstream media, I haven't watched them in months either. I used to try to tune in, like, oh, what's going on? But after it was just lie after lie after lie, I was like, this is just a complete and utter falsehood. So it's very difficult. It's very difficult to know what is true and what's not true. Facebook leans left, absolutely. I don't even know if they lean left. They probably fell over left. But again, there's that fine line. It's hard because it's like, well, it is a private business. It's a giant fucking private corporation. But it's like Keller Brothers Productions. We can skew one way or the other, whatever we want to do. Safeway can, Pizza Hut, doesn't matter. It's just when so many people rely on that for information, that becomes extremely, extremely scary.
Right, guys?
That's all I got.
But anyways, I agree with Kelly saying here. I mean, it gets so fucking crazy thinking that so many people just turn on TV sets, whatever, and listen to that and believe 100% whatever it says, not ever admitting that it might be false or incorrect or whatever. And again, like I can use so many examples. They reported false information. CNN at one point fucking set up a fake set. It was in LA and it was a fake set. They were pretending to be in Iraq or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
for a tsunami.
Yeah, for a tsunami, and it was so fucking false what they were doing. But the power of suggestion is so powerful that people believe that bullshit no matter what.
I guarantee people believe that Saturday Night Live is a news network. I bet you some people believe that's a actual legitimate news network.
Yeah, I agree. This is my last death blow to the Mahones and J Marsh crowd. And let me ask you this final question.
High five. I'm being reasonable, Mahomes. Just high five. We're the reasonable ones. We established just now.
As we conclude tonight's podcast, I have one question for you fucks. It's simple. This is not an opinionated argument. This is not an opinionated site, because people on Facebook, I posted this before, and people on Facebook will be like, oh yeah, well look at this, Pat Cutler. And they post a completely fact-checked opinionated site or whatever. This is just facts. This is just fucking facts. How, and please, you guys are brilliant. You guys are so smart. I know you guys are very smart people. How the fuck are we in the middle of a pandemic this past year, and yet the population of America increased by 2 million fucking people, or close to it, just as much as they increased any other fucking year? How is that possible?
Well, that's pretty simple. So I'm glad. I thank you for pandering to me. People were locked in, so they were fucking more. Pretty simple, Pat. Yeah. Like it's a pretty simple equation. They had nowhere to go, so they had sex, and more kids came. Bingo, bango.
A lot of this. Yeah, a lot of this. This constantly for a year.
That's a great point of view. Except for it takes 9 months to make a fucking kid, so that would overdate the actual data. Thank you.
No.
Yes, you guys are so fucking mature. So yes.
6 months before that, people still doing this. Nothing changed.
Exactly. J Marsh just made my point. Thank you very much. The show is officially over.
That was
No.
it. All right.
No, I'll go down. Briefly, we're going to talk about this next week because I have a very special guest coming on.
Please fucking tell me we're done talking about COVID on this fucking podcast. For the love of
So
God.
yeah, this is 2 episodes now. 2.
I'm all set on like can we not have like all right, let's fire this conversation up with Joe from the corner bar. What do you think about COVID?
That's two. Okay. I'm sorry, that's 2. I thought last week was about a comedian. I'm sorry, I didn't know that. I thought we were doing Vegas Nights last week because that was the fucking ended up being.
Well,
so
I'm all for kind of concluding or wrapping up here shortly because we tore it up hard last night, and I'm on about my last glass of wine before I open another bottle upstairs. And as Jay Marsh said, I'm gonna go do some of this. For all of you listening and not watching out there, I was making the little donut sign with my left hand and sticking my index finger in.
All right, so I'm sorry guys, I came on. I printed a bunch of facts about COVID. You guys are big TV set watchers and I didn't go over with you. I apologize. I'm so sorry. Let's move on to something more important. Though political correctness, and not only political correctness, but basically this is a much bigger rabbit hole than COVID-19. Basically censoring people that fucking don't agree with what you're saying. That's where we're at right now. So I was on a video chat with my daughter today, and she said, I watched The Masked Singer, and this guy, I don't watch Masked Singer, by the way. This guy, his name is Nick Cannon. I kind of know who he is. Anyways, Nick Cannon was removed from the show, and she said to me, he was removed from the show for something he said on a podcast. And I look at podcasts, like I love podcasts because podcast is more like the free speech range these days. But I looked it up, and he said something about I didn't look at the entire quote. I'll be honest, but he said something about Jewish religions and stuff. Then he mentioned Louis Farrakhan. So Louis Farrakhan a while back, like Obama and a lot of people quoted Louis Farrakhan as his motivation. They had no problem doing that. So whether you're right wing or left wing, it's like, should a guy just be fucking kicked off a show for quoting Louis Farrakhan and trying to give a true thought or something, and not people taking it as absolute fact, but just giving a fucking opinion about something that should validate you being kicked off a fucking TV show?
Well, didn't he say something borderline anti-Semitic? If I remember correctly, that happened a while back. But he said something kind of on the border and blaming people of Jewish heritage.
So you think his thoughts on Jewish heritage on the fly should get him kicked off a TV show?
Well, for reasons I'm not going to go into further explanation, but it's like you probably can't blame a certain group of people for problems of other people, especially given World War II.
Well, just I'm gonna kick it to Mahogany because does anyone know the quote? I don't know the fucking quote, so I don't know the quote. Mahogany or Kelly, step on up. I'm gonna look at the quote right now, but I can't debate something I don't fucking know, unlike the fucking COVID-19 hide in my basement experts. So you guys go ahead and talk about it. I'm gonna look at the quote right now.
I don't know. I know my daughter loves Masked Singer, so I've seen it. I don't know what he said. I do like, and there's a lot of people who don't like Trump or who don't like Biden or who don't like we should never be able to block someone from saying anything on. If we're gonna be the country of free speech, you should never be able to block somebody just because you don't like the shit they're saying. Like, you don't have to follow them, you don't have to read it for sure, but I don't think we should ever be able to block anybody, no matter what. Like, that's just, there shouldn't be a company that says that they can block. You just can't. That's I don't like that move. I don't really give a shit about politics, but I don't think we can't be doing that. We can't have Facebook and Twitter telling us like what people can and can't say. Even like, fuck it. If there's someone saying some really terrible shit, just ignore them. Like, stop listening to them. That's all they're trying to do is get your attention, right? If they're saying really terrible shit, they're just looking for attention. That's all it is. It's like kids having a tantrum. So just ignore them. That's That's I have no idea what he said, and I don't know if Pat's found the quote or not. Obviously, people are going to get really touchy on race and religion, so it's better to fucking just not say anything about any of that ever, because it does nobody any good.
Yeah, in general, I feel like the PC and the cancel culture shit is just completely insane, overblown, blah blah blah. But I mean, it's really a fine line again. The Masked Singer, Pizza Hut, whatever. What are the stipulations? Are these private companies, public companies? Because then that adds another layer of whatever. And from what I've noticed is people on the right tend to, own ranches and be the working class, the middle class, and all that stuff. And the people on the left just seem like they really have corporate America by the balls. Like, I don't know how or why that happened, but they have the trillions and trillions of dollars invested, especially in the media and in the entertainment. Can they do whatever they want, or does it come to a point where it's like, you made so much money, you have so much influence that the rules, the laws have to change for you because you're not just racist Jimmy down at McDonald's saying whatever he wants to say. You know what I mean? You are on a national level with millions of people watching.
So again, you guys, this is my point. It's like, I can't search it. I can't fucking find the actual quote. It takes me lots of research to find the actual fucking quote. Is that not fucking embarrassing? It's like, I gotta reach, you're gonna boycott guy, censor him or whatever, and then I can't even find the actual fucking quote he said. I mean, come on here. What do you think about that?
I think that's another piece that's come out of people being stuck at home for so long, is they have all this time and they're like, okay, what has made them ultra sensitive? Like, what can I get pissed off about now? Right? I hope is that the ultra sensitive society we've turned into over the last year or so, when we get back to fucking normal, whenever that is, I hope that shit goes away and people can start just being normal again, instead of being worried.
According to you and Jay Marsh, people being stuck at home, two things happened. They became ultra sensitive and they did a lot of this.
Well, yeah, and that was also a nice ultra sensitive, Shout out to Trojan ultra sensitive.
Yeah, sponsor us, please, Trojan.
So it's just such a fucking, I don't know. It's not a shitty time to be alive. There's great technology. There's abundant food. There's delicious beers and breweries on every fucking corner. So it's not like we're living in the fucking like medieval ages where shit was terrible, right? But I don't love where society's at right now, for sure.
Why are we this is kind of a different rabbit hole, but why are we so upset? Why are we so angry and sad and depressed when, like, me and Pat have talked about this, we're all kings and fucking queens compared to history. Like, even the poorest people in America are fucking kings and queens. Even homeless people are eating like Burger King every day, and that's a delicacy compared to, someone that's living in the slums in the Philippines or something. But everyone's so depressed and everyone's so fucking weak. It's like we don't even know what we want anymore. It's like you got food and shelter and family and entertainment and every fucking thing you want. And Amazon, you can buy anything you want for $20 or $10 or whatever. It's just, I don't get it. I think we're just a bunch of spoiled little fucking children of Uncle Sam. I really think that's where we're at.
So again, sorry. Not to cut you off, but I agree. Like, we're in the richest country in the richest time in history. I read a report on CNN. It's like, oh, the world's falling apart. The whole thing's coming to the end. It's like, are you fucking out of your mind? You have any idea the history of the world? I mean, we are spoiled fucking brats, in my opinion. Spoiled fucking. We can do whatever we want. I can do what. COVID hit, and I haven't worked for a fucking year now, and I still have money going to my bank account for doing fucking nothing. That's how fucking spoiled we are, you fucks.
It's just everyone. It's another side effect of social media, honestly, because everyone's trying to compare themselves to the non-reality that their friends are putting out or the celebrity that they follow is putting out. So that's why everyone's depressed, because they don't focus on like, fuck, man, I got it actually pretty good. They think about the shit that they don't have, and that's another reason social media is fucking terrible. Check us out on Instagram.
Can we start a fucking Can we start a fucking F word count? Because I think this episode would fucking win it hands down.
No fucking way.
Hey, guys.
No fucking way.
Brick
Guys,
that.
Hey, really quick, I got the Nick Cannon comment. Does everyone want to hear that or not, or do you want to go down that road or not?
I mean, I guess we spent all that time looking it up. I may as well hear what he said.
All right, I'm gonna disconnect my headphones, my mic, and we're gonna go to the comment here. Really quick, guys.
Ooh, technology.
Fancy.
I like this.
I'm gonna play a sound right now on my computer. Make sure you can hear this sound on my computer.
As you close your eyes,
You guys hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Hear that? Taylor Swift.
Yep. That is Taylor Swift. Yeah.
All
Good
right,
song.
here's gonna be the official Nick Cannon comments. It's about 2 minutes, guys. Just listen to it and make your own judgments on this clip. Let's just listen to it.
in the Black community, in the Jewish community, and I'm kind of, this is a leading question which I want to get to, but why is it such a problem to speak the truth? The children of Israel. Exactly. There's no reason. You speaking facts. Exactly. There's no reason to be scared of anything when you're speaking the truth. If we were truly the children of Israel, and we're defining who the Jewish people are, because I feel like if we actually can understand that construct, then we can see that there is no hate involved. When we talk about the lies, the deceit, how the fake dollar controls all of this, then maybe we can get to the reason why they wanted to silence you. I'm hated now because I told the truth. It's never hate speech when it's not. Right. You can't be anti-Semitic when we are the Semitic people, when we are the same people that who they want to be. That's our birthright. That's our birthright. Who's behind the mask? Oh my God! Sit down, Emmy Award-winning superstar.
Just a second here, guys. Let me just make sure I'm on here correctly, boys. All right. So I mean, that's, in my opinion, that's. Did you guys all hear that? Yes.
Like,
What
was it?
got him in trouble? What part of that got him in trouble?
I'm assuming it was the questioning people of Jewish heritage. That kind of aspect of it. Would
Oh,
be my guess?
again, CNN. That was off of CNN. They cut off a lot of parts of it, so I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What did people find that was so offensive about that?
Go ahead, Mahoney.
I guess I kept waiting to hear the thing that it, was going to be offensive. I'm not Jewish, so I guess I shouldn't be offended by that, or I don't find anything offensive in what was said, unless I'm missing some context or more things that were said. But out of everything that said, it just sounded like it was just some dude talking on a podcast.
He went on Twitter, for the record. He went on Twitter and said some other stuff, but it's hard to capture that. So let me just go back though.
Good stuff. For he apologized, or what? What do you do on Twitter?
Here a second.
Does anybody know what you do on Twitter?
Yeah, I got it. I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna pull it up here a second.
Like, I remember this happened like early last year. This was a while ago, like kind of thing to happen. Like, it's definitely been a minute.
Well, yeah, I the first thing I was thinking about when Mahoney started talking was the exact same thing. Is I'm not Jewish, so I don't know. But for me, that didn't really even make sense. I was like, we're all Semitic. What does that mean? We're all.
G-Mark's right though. Back on Twitter, he said, "Anyone who knows me, I have no hate in my heart nor malice. intentions. I do not condone speech nor the spread of hateful rhetoric. We're living in time. Okay, he doesn't say anything on Twitter.
I remember it was definitely because this happened a while back. I remember hearing about it. It was definitely on his podcast, but I can't quote him at all. I just remember he said something that was borderline anti-Semitic, and that's where he got a lot of hate from.
But anyways,
But-
let's get to the point. Is I mean, this is the society we live in right now. He gets kicked out the Masked Singer because of that.
What's the context? Was he interviewing someone? What
Yes,
was that?
It was a
was-
podcast he had. It was a
Yeah,
podcast.
It was something like that. Like to the point, like you can't find it in 5 minutes of a Google search. Like I can't find his personal
Yeah,
exact quote of
very
what he
hard.
said. Pat couldn't find it. Like we at this point with the politicization of this modern age, like we should be able to find that in 5 minutes. Like we should be
Yeah.
able to find that.
It
but we
should be
can't.
the first. It should be the first fucking thing on Google. Like, what did Nick Cannon say
Yeah.
that got him in trouble? It should be the first thing on Google.
So for the record, though, I played exactly what CNN had played as the most hateful or whatever comments from Nick Cannon. That's exactly from CNN. So CNN did play the most out there comments.
Right.
I just can't. With you, I'm with you. I can't find where it's like, oh my god, this guy should be
Yeah.
boycotted from a fucking TV show.
Well, it goes back to me from the Masked Singer. Take it as a small business. You know, Joe's pastry shop down the street. Joe's got a shitty employee. You know, sometimes games are played where people are laid off because he did something terrible or he was really racist behind the scenes or something like that. Maybe Nick Cannon, like they just wanted to get rid of him for some reason. So this was their reason to the public. But I mean, that's not the true reason. That's not even a percent of it. You know what I mean? Like take it from a business standpoint. Who knows what happened behind the scenes? And if it's political or if it's business, those are two completely different things.
I just feel like he had to say more than that to lose his job. And I did see some commercial that he's doing some sit down with Oprah or somebody of that, like a famous interviewer. It's like he had to have said something that pissed somebody off, but nothing he said in that whatever the hell he was saying pissed me off at all. So
That's the
for what
point
it's
though that Kelly's making a lot of you are making is like it's like okay, they're censoring out everything that we honestly think or say or do because I know for a fact he mentioned Louis Farrakhan, and back in the day that was not a big deal mentioning Louis Farrakhan. And Louis Farrakhan's fucking crazy, he's a nutbag or whatever, but still. The freedom of speech to say mention this guy's name and we're kicking you off the fucking internet or whatever. Let me go on YouTube and try to find it.
Yeah, I just feel like it's got to be something way bigger than that. But I mean, again, these businesses, if you say something that goes against policy, he might get fired. But it's just he's a entertainment, icon, a star or whatever. So it's just more publicized and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's tough. I think the PC culture sucks. I think you should be able to say whatever you want, but there's a line there when you go into work for somebody else or when you make a contract with somebody else, you got to abide by that contract. So in your house, in your personal life, I say nothing is off the table. Nothing, that's our First Amendment rights. It's just if you sign a contract, you're playing by someone else's rules at that point. Is that right, Mahogany?
I'm looking at his Wikipedia.
Montgomery.
Oh, he's on Wikipedia now.
Yeah, because I'm just like these
Research.
So man, I found it on YouTube. There's a big clip on YouTube, but it's like hour and 2 minutes. Like I'm not going through an hour and 2 minutes just to find that one quote.
Yeah.
Hey Pat, you know what we should do it, and this is kind of what we were saying Tilly's job should be, because I think it's really cool for all 28 people that are listening to this. If you put those YouTube clips on there, if you could put a graphic up, so if we know, and maybe we didn't know we were going to talk about this, but anything in the future, I think that's cool to actually go to the source, because then it's more justifiable to talk about it. We're not just like I said something and this is fucking bullshit.
So here's just kind of He endorsed conspiracies that about Jewish control of finances, said that the Jews had stolen the black people's identity as true Hebrews, started calling white people savages, said they were closer to animals, and the only way they act is evil.
But that's not what he said in that clip.
No.
That's not what he said.
That sounds vaguely familiar of something that happened like 6 months ago. Like it's been a definitely good time before this podcast that came up. Kind of
So sorry.
Pat hit it on the nose. You hit it on the nose too with CNN. It's like CNN. This seems like a story they're rubbing their hands together for. They're going to put the worst shit on there that he says, and he didn't say anything close to what Mahoney just read.
Oh, just Mahogany. Please read that again.
So Cannon endorsed conspiracies about Jewish control of finance, claimed the Jews had stolen the identity of black people as the true Hebrews, cited Louis Farrakhan. He also made what they're calling black supremacists, calling statements calling white people savages who are closer to animals, and the only way they act is evil.
You know, Kelly, and that last part's a little wild. I'll give you that. But is this anything short of what Jesus Christ said in the Bible against the Hebrews and everybody else?
Yeah, I don't know about that. What I'm thinking about is, did he actually go deeper? Like I said, did some of this shit happen behind the scenes, not just what was said on that podcast? We'll never know. You know, they'll never report what actually happened.
I mean, let's go back to the original point though. It's like, if he comes out the next day and says, I apologize, I didn't mean that towards white people and Jews and stuff, does that still deserve him being fired from a TV show?
Hey, look, we're four white guys here, and I wasn't offended, not even 0.5%. I was going to say this earlier. Mark is Irish. You know, we're Polish. Justin, what are you? Mulatto?
mix of. I don't think I can riff off that legally now, but definitely Irish, Italian, a little bit German.
Do any of you guys ever get offended by anything? I just saw a meme on Facebook that had like this white chick holding up this cheese spread in a store, and it said, "It goes better with crackers." Can you imagine if you did that with any other race? I laugh my ass off. Again, maybe that's my white privilege, but I laugh my ass off, and I don't know. Again, we're not those people. We're not black people. We're not Jewish people. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to wrap your head around. It'd be nice to, you know, get someone on to actually speak to those things so we could ask questions and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what everyone's story is. I don't know how people grew up or what they dealt with. Like, you can call me whatever Irish like slur or nickname, or like I don't give a shit. Go nuts. Like, it doesn't bother me. But again, everyone's got their own shit, right? Everyone's come up in life a different way, and I just don't know. So I can't really judge if you get offended by if someone calls you something about your nationality or your skin color or what, because I don't know, because it's never been an issue for me.
My point is, why can't we as a society condemn what Nick Cannon said and say that's wrong, that's totally out of bounds, it's so wrong to say that? Why do you always have to go to the boycott, the censor, the cancel culture method? I just don't agree. Why do we have to always go there? Why can't we? How are people supposed to be able to feel that they can say whatever they truly believe if we live in a society that's going to boycott you no matter what?
Well, not even feel as much as learn. Like, there's been a handful of cases, especially in the NBA. I guess one in the NFL specifically, I think, off the top of my head, where someone said something a little borderline-ish, but there's no like opportunity to like learn more about the culture they're speaking against. Like, should be a learning aspect to the modern times, but there isn't.
It's basically it's the one strike and you're out rule right now. That's the society we live in. It's one strike and you're fucking. I'm coming for you. I'm coming for your family. I'm coming for your business. Fuck you. One strike, you're gone.
Yeah. Again, though, these are businesses. These are corporations, nonprofits, whatever they are. Every single entity structure plays by a different set of rules. But it's just, you know, if say we had a Nick Cannon, we have Joe Blow down at Cutler Brothers Theater, and he said exactly what we just heard Nick Cannon say. I mean, we wouldn't even think twice about it. But if somebody, you know, was Jewish or something that was also acting at our theater, we would probably sit down and go, hey, you know, this is offensive to Tony over here, and we need to cut that out. But I mean, again, we're not on a national fucking level though, with millions and millions of eyes.
Yeah.
It's like I said at the beginning, everyone's worried, not so much like about lawsuits in this case, but another thing they're worried about, the same way people are worried about lawsuits, is they're worried about their bank account. So if I'm NBC or ABC or whatever the hell, whoever Nick Cannon worked for, if I see that and I know there's a bunch of other people from different backgrounds, I'm gonna make sure that this guy doesn't affect my bank account.
And that bank account's huge, you know. I mean, they sue Cutler Brothers, they're going to get a couple shitty costumes and a roll of toilet paper, you know, which I guess is worth a lot according to earlier.
You know, though, you talk about the Jews and stuff, and yeah, you know, you got to keep that bank account going up as much as possible. Those fucking Jews are going to take it, right, Mahoney?
No, that is not right. That is not correct.
That was a joke on my part, folks. A lot of fun here tonight. I tried playing Jesus Christ, and Mahoney shut me down. Shut me down.
Yeah, I didn't really have any ambition to jump into biblical talks tonight.
Hey, last thought here. I want to say last thought. And Jay Marsh, you're gonna lead this conversation because you look like fucking Moses right now. Let's go though to biblical times and let's talk about COVID-19. And did Jesus say to the leopards, "I must wear a mask, boycott you, and stay at least 6 feet away from you"? Is that what he did? Go ahead, take it away, Jay Marsh.
Being the least religious person, I'm gonna claim, because I got here first. I don't know what Jesus said exactly. I assume it was something about embrace people, love people for who they are, kind of thing. But I can't say verbatim what he said. So on to the next guy.
I like how Patches does these mic drops and walks out of the room.
just fucking leaves. He's somewhere over. He's out here. He's gone.
Oh yeah. I think I found him.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to delve deep into biblical talks because that could probably be, you know, 100 podcasts, and I don't even think that we're knowledgeable enough with the four of us to talk, you know, even for one podcast. But no, you know, people refer to Jesus. It's funny to me because people refer to Jesus Christ on both sides of the aisle. You know, again, I hate to talk political, but that's just what it is. It's not even political at this point. There's just people think this on the left or they think this on the right, you know, but people on both sides name drop Jesus Christ all the time. And I find that fascinating, you know, whatever that's worth.
Yeah. I mean, you know, separation of church and state, right? I feel like that whole thing, which is critical, I think, has gone out the wayside a little bit. Yeah, I don't, like I said, I have no real aspirations to get biblical on anything. I don't really want to talk about COVID anymore. I prefer not to talk about race and religion. Like pretty much in my normal life, I never do. So yeah.
Well, I think this one got COVID kind of out of the way somewhat. The first one was about, you know, Redgate and horror movies, and then last one obviously is more about comedy, but this was a little bit more serious of a podcast. But I think there's a lot of great, I think people like to listen and hear people's thoughts and opinions, whether they agree or not. And, you know, a thought I had way earlier in the podcast I wanted to bring up, but I would love for someone to come on here, someone that completely just disagrees, to come on here and talk to us, because we're not the people that are going to sit here and not listen to a differing viewpoint. We're the people that are going to sit here and be curious and ask questions and things like that. Why boycott watching anything or listening to anything? Just unless they're like, no, fuck you, no one wants to hear that. I do want to hear it, whether I completely agree with it or completely disagree with it. I do want to hear it so that I can become more knowledgeable myself and I can have a solid education on everything.
Yeah, just wrap up these last 15 minutes of conversation we had about Jews and Christ and everything else. Is that you know what, the Catholic Church would not allow Jews right now to do that stuff they're doing. No, I'm joking. Jokes. But my point, though, of the Catholic Church with Christ and stuff, and that last statement I made is like, okay, well, the Catholic Church just fucking brags. Name it as a Catholic, not Jay Marsh. The four of us.
Correct.
They brag and they fucking brag about martyrdom, being a fucking martyr, sticking to your fucking beliefs, being a martyr constantly. That's what the Catholic Church brags about constantly. And then we have this pandemic, and they're fucking kicking people out of church because they don't wear a fucking mask, because they're not fucking going towards the rules of a secular government. So that's why I have a big problem with the Catholic Church. It's like, okay, you guys said you're about martyrdom, you're about people dying for your religion, and then you come out and the government says you must wear masks. So it does not have anything to do with science or anything else. So that's my point with Nick Cannon. This whole entire thing is like, okay, well, you're supposed to support the rules of Jesus Christ himself, and he never once ever fucking said you are not allowed in my church because you're not wearing a mask, you're not staying 6 feet away. People boycott me from the church for not following these bizarre fucking rules. So it's like the entire church has abandoned everything they believe in. That's a fact. They have. And they embraced a secular government run by an atheist named by Jay Marsh. Hey, Jay Marsh, go ahead, take it away. Last statements here.
I don't have a lot to say about anything in Catholicism or religion. It's not my specialty. But COVID created some weird times, and I'm going to pass it on from there.
All right, Mahogany, you're up next.
Again, yeah, religion, politics. COVID is pretty much politics, race, all the stuff I do my very best not to talk about pretty much as possible. So, but no, I mean, just in terms of religion, whatever your belief is. So if it's, God and Jesus, the biggest thing you should take away is forgiveness. And like, God doesn't hate anyone. Jesus didn't hate anyone. Like, that's, if you truly follow that, don't hate and forgive, because we all fuck up. We all need forgiveness at some point. So that's, if you want to live at its simplest, outside of the golden rule that you're taught in kindergarten, just be good to people. Don't hate people. We all go through our own shit and learn to forgive.
Kelly?
Just to touch on something Mahoney said earlier about separation of church and state, I put a Facebook post out there about just something I thought about on a Sunday morning, about the separation of church and state, how the church is never, ever in the state, but the state's always in the church, the COVID mandates and everything down the line. And, I was just put a post out there about that. And one of my friends from college commented on it about the church being a nonprofit tax deductible entity that, doesn't pay taxes. So that really got my bell going, because I was like, well, is there really such thing as church and state? Because the church has to technically, legally abide by the mandates of the state, because if they don't, they aren't going to be tax exempt anymore. And I know a thing or two about tax exemption, and that just, and I don't know to what. I just found it really interesting that maybe that is why they bow down to these things, because maybe they have to keep this entity, this structure, whatever you want to call it, the Catholic Church going. And I kind of hate that. I'm like, I would rather honestly just get away from that and pay taxes. And if that's what you got to do legally, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's, right? I would just do that and not have to bow down, because there is no separation of church and state if you have to abide by mandates. because of legalities in a contract.
Yeah, very good point there, Kelly. And we're going to finish up here pretty soon. As I say, finish up 5,000 times here in every podcast. But yeah, your point is very, very good. Mahoney's point is basically that we should bow down no matter what the laws are, no matter what, and we just gotta fucking love and fuck each other in the ass. I get that point. It's great, but Jesus Christ did not believe in that, my friend. He
Yeah,
believed.
I don't remember reading anything in the Bible about fucking everyone in the ass. It could be in one of the books I haven't read yet, though.
It's pronounced sodomy.
Oh yes, certainly.
But I agree with Mahoney too. It's like, you know what, and Jesus too. It's like, why do we have to have these structures that have anything to do with the government whatsoever? It's like you could pray just as easily in a closet in your house as you can going to a facility that you're, you know, tithing, paying money to keep the lights on and things. So yeah, just be a good person outside of the church completely. Be a good person, forgive people. Yeah, I agree with all that stuff.
Yeah, if you're a head of the Catholic Church, discriminate against anybody who's not wearing a mask. That's what Jesus taught. All right. Let's wrap this up. Everybody, your last words here. Mahones, go first.
You know, this was a little bit heavier edition than after we have the comedian on. So I sure thank everyone for sticking in. I mean, I guess that's kind of the beauty of the podcast is you don't really know what we're going to talk about, and hopefully you find us interesting enough to continue to listen. And you know, obviously our points, you can disagree with them, you can like them, you can not like them. If you like us, tell people to listen to us. If you don't like us, tell people to listen to us and explain why you don't like us.
J. Marsh, go ahead.
Being in the glory hole, I've been playing with a rock between my feet for the past 45 minutes, so that's been fun. But absolutely, much love, everyone. I hope everyone stays safe during this pandemic. Haha, Pat, it's real. I'm kidding. But deuces.
That's it. God damn,
Oh,
he's drunk. I think that's it. All right, Kelly.
Yeah, I think this is our third podcast. It's 3 completely different subjects that we've talked about. It's really awesome. I don't mind talking about anything. You know, I feel like nothing should be wiped off the board. And that was kind of my initial point, is I hate how someone will get offended or emotional over something. I'd rather just have a conversation. And I don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. I know a couple things. You know a couple things. Let's bring them all to the table. And I just think that's how you become more wise, is listening to everyone's viewpoints, whether you agree or not. Yeah, so that's my take on tonight's very, very hilarious episode.
I'll laugh a minute this episode.
All right, everybody. That's been a great take tonight. A lot of fun. Thanks everybody coming on, and a ton of fun here tonight. We went beyond the depth that anybody can have ever. But stay tuned. Next week it's going to be more controversial, and I will honor